several very talented chefs from Miami and mixologists to demonstrate how to cook and enjoy food like a South Floridian. South Floridian?
A South Floridian works for me.
Yes, okay. And our last, let's give a big hand to the last demonstration of the day, Chef Jonathan Bennett of Red the Steakhouse in Miami.
Welcome to Miami. I know it's a little sunny here, but you know, it's okay.
What are we making today?
What are we making today? We have cream corn, which I know it's, you know, February outside, but in Miami, corn is amazing right now. It's coming out of Homestead, Florida, which is it's about, where's Rosemary? She's like my.
We're down. The Homestead is down south about.
It's like 45 minutes. Hour.
Yeah. That's where the corn comes from?
Yeah, like there's an Air Force base there, and I see the signs whenever I go down to the Keys. So, I'm originally from North Carolina, so if you hear some y'alls or some fixin'-tos, fixin'-to's a big part of my language. I'm fixing to make some cream corn.
All right.
So, corn. Look
Thank
at that. You should have been here earlier. I didn't have anything, and I'm like, could someone bring me the salt? And then the corn. And
someone did.
Yes, they did. Amazingly. A little lesson about corn. Corn is probably one of my favorite summertime vegetables, outside of tomatoes, which are a fruit.
Okay.
But it's a very fleeting flavor, you know? The starches convert to sugar or the sugars convert to starch. Man, I said that twice today. The same way. I'm a little dyslexic. Thank you.
Do you always start with corn in the husk?
Yes, we do. And, you know, you go to the grocery store or you go to the market and you see the one that's already pre-shucked. The husk is there. It retains moisture. It protects it from, you know, flies landing on it in the market. You know,
sort of a natural protection for the corn.
It's like God's saran wrap.
God's saran wrap. Write that down, everyone.
It's probably easier to take off than saran wrap.
Okay.
Yeah. But, you know, talking about the sugars and whatnot, you know, you've tasted corn where it's like, oh my goodness, it's so sweet. You taste it again, it's like, oh man, it's not so sweet anymore. What happened? As soon as corn's picked, it produces an enzyme, and there's a change in its feeling, and it goes, oh man, someone picked us. We need to convert so we can go to seed really quick, right? So the sugars inside the kernels actually change over to starches, and starches aren't sugary, they're starchy. So the quicker you eat corn after it's picked, the sweeter it's going to be. There are a lot of corns out there today through, you know, crossbreeding and whatnot that, you know, they started, you know, when I was a kid, and, you know, like Silver Queen corn, Silver Queen. Now it's considered an heirloom variety. Silver Queen was actually a hybrid back in the 70s where they're trying to keep it sweeter longer, and now there's super sweets where they really, you know, they've bred the corn so it stays sweeter a lot longer. So, you know, the American Indians, they would have their fire and the pot at the end of the rows of corn so that they could put their corn and cook it directly, because they didn't have, you know, the hybridization.
So they just wanted to make it and eat it right away.
Yeah. So they wanted it to be as sweet as possible.
So if you bought some corn on the farm stand in the summer here, like in the Hudson Valley, how quickly would you want to eat it?
Well, with today's corn, where, you know, I mean, if you think about like an heirloom tomato, and you pick up that heirloom tomato and you're like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. It really is amazing, because the tomatoes of today are bred to be able to ship across the country, to stay fresh for, you know, 4 weeks, and, you know, to still be that rock hard thing whenever you cut it for your sandwich. Heirloom tomatoes were, yeah, there was a great tasting tomato. It didn't matter that you picked it today and it wasn't any good tomorrow because it got too soft. You know, we're noticing the flavor. Corn's a little different. There are some really good heirloom varieties of corn out there, but you got to eat them quick, because the starches take over really fast.
But you can use any corn to make a good cream corn, any good fresh summer corn.
You know, you peel the husk back, you know, you pop a little kernel, give it a little taste. If it's sweet, buy it. If it's not sweet, get it at your next stop, because the whole pile is probably from the same batch and it's probably all the same age. So whenever you're cutting the corn off the cob, though, don't go too deep, because when you go deep, you hit the actual cob, and you can hear, and you can see the difference here and here? Here you're getting into the cob, and then you're going to be eating corn cob instead of cream
That's
corn.
sort of woodsy and fibrous. It's not something you really want to be.
And cream corn cob is not nearly as good as cream corn. So
I bet you could make it taste good, but
I don't know, man. You start with bad, you end up with bad most of the time.
Oh,
So
here comes some tastes.
have we already got some cream corn coming? Oh, sweet. All right. I'm going to go ahead and jump ahead, but if you notice there's a little crumb on the top of it, that's actually some cornbread that we make, and then we turn into like cornbread crumbs. It's for a little texture. So don't throw your cobs away. It still has an amazing, amazing amount of flavor inside of that. And I'm going to transfer this to saute pan. So after you've cut the corn off the cob, then take the back of your knife.
So this is the sort of thing that most people don't know.
Right, this is whenever you threw it away, and my grandmother would have scolded me for it. But you can see what's coming off of the cob, and this is all amazing, amazing corn.
It's like natural cream corn, right?
That is natural cream corn. Then the cobs go into your pot, because then we're going to make a corn stock. So we're going to scrape all our corn cobs, get every bit of pulp out that we can. And whenever we put our cream into there, it's you know, this is like natural corn starch, right? So all this is going to go into our pot. We're going to cut all our corn, we're going to put it all into the pot. We're going to add some cream to it. And if you notice, the recipe calls for a lot more cream than you end up using. It calls for a quart.
Excuse me?
She stepped on my cord. I thought I was going to go down. Man down. It calls for a quart, but then you end up only using about a cup in the recipe. Take the rest of it, put it in the freezer, save it for later. Use it as a soup, put some shrimp in it. We'll have a shrimp app later. I mean, you can taste those two together, and it just would be an amazing thing. So this is going to simmer. All right, and then we're going to saute up our corn. And corn, one of the, like, you know, even growing up in my family, I grew up on a 400-acre pig farm in the Piedmont of North Carolina, and we overcooked our corn.
And you loved it.
And I loved it, but I learned better.
Okay.
So the key to corn cookery is don't overcook it. You'll notice the color will change whenever it just starts to cook. And
what do you think of that cream corn?
Is it good? Is it like a taste of sunshine? Does it feel like you're on the beach in Miami right now? No?
Hey, it's 49 degrees in New York today. That's summer for us.
It's 86 in Miami today.
Rub it
86
in,
degrees.
rub it in. Okay.
My flight leaves tomorrow at 8:30. I'm going to miss New York, but not the cold. So, talking about corn again. We were in the back and we were talking earlier, and you know, one of my favorite ways to eat corn in the summer is to just put a very light shimmer of olive oil on it, rub it in really good, and then put it on the grill. So like, here's my grill, and I'm gonna like this for about a minute, and then turn it a third, and turn it a third, and you'll notice that the color will change from like this milky white yellow to more saturated yellow, and when it changes colors, it's done. If you keep cooking it, you ever eat that corn where it's like sticky and chewy?
Yeah.
Overcooked corn. It probably was great. And it was amazing. And then it went.
I think you're the corn whisperer. You have all the corn secrets.
At least I'm not too corny, right?
No, not yet.
That was my punny for the day. So we're gonna saute this up. I'm gonna slide this over so I can get. All my lights are flashing.
Oh,
do you see my lights flashing? I'm gonna turn it off.
You want this one on, right?
Turn it back on.
Okay.
Here, let's move up here and see what happens. Oh, I got solid light again. Induction cookery.
Are you all familiar with these induction cooktops? Right over there. Explain that
It's
to
a
me.
magnetic resonance where the magnetic waves transfer and it creates a friction, and the friction is actually what heats. Oh, we have sizzle.
We do.
Snap, crackle, pop.
So it's an instant heat source. The minute you put the pan, as long as it's friendly with induction cooking, it
Yeah.
heats up immediately, and the minute